just believe with all my heart that every single person that's in this room today, God has a special place in His heart for you. And because He's a Father, the Father wants to release blessing on His children. You're a child of His. He's our King, and He's our Father. And what's really cool about that statement is that we belong to the King and His kingdom. We're also sons and daughters that are in the realm of the kingdom. And because we're sons and daughters, we have access to everything the King, the Father, has made available to us. It's there. Everything. Healing, financial prosperity, blessing relationally, health and wholeness inside. Right? The word sozo, the word salvation, I think most of you know this in the scripture. The word salvation doesn't simply mean that He's going to save us from our sin, although that's true. But it's much bigger than that. Aren't you glad that God's not just one-dimensional, He's multifaceted? Because in that idea of salvation, He said, I came not just to bring salvation to save you from hell. Good thing, right? I came that you might have life. I came that you might have wholeness of life. So physically, I've come that you might be healed. Emotionally, I've come that you might be healed. Spiritually, I've come that you might be healed. The totality of why He came is so that we can walk in health and wholeness. And when the world sees us walking in health and wholeness, guess what? They look at you and go, why? Why are you blessed? Why is there goodness on your life? Why have you been healed? Why have you been changed? Why are you any different than me? And you get to tell them the story. Let me tell you about my friend Jesus. Jesus? Yeah, Jesus. Let me tell you about my friend Jesus. And guess what? When they hear your story, I believe deep within me that the potential for life transformation in those you tell your story to is way bigger than you even can comprehend. Part of the reason why the world's not transformed is because we're not willing sometimes to tell our stories. That day is over. Bam. Part of the chain is broken today. I declare over you is a new day of boldness, that you begin to share your story, begin to tell people of the good news of Jesus Christ. Come on, somebody. That should have been like seriously, a real big moment for a charismatic church like you. Like, yes! I'll do it for you.
Yes!
Woo!
Hallelujah!
Come on, church!
Yeah, come on, kids. All right. Maybe I'll just sit down and play the piano right now instead of preaching.
Come on!
You guys think, should I do that?
Yeah.
Can you hear it? I'm playing. I can do it. I can play. I don't play racquetball very well. See my little eye? Got 7 stitches in it. Won't tell you who gave it to me, but it's sitting to my left, or it's to my, it's on my left. Because he's good and I'm bad, that's why I got the stitches.
How's the deal?
Feels good. Thanks for asking. You want to play today?
I'm ready.
I'm ready too. I'm ready to go. I have another eye. Aim for. Okay. Let's talk for a few minutes about this idea of extravagant living/giving. I feel like in the last few weeks, God's been releasing us into something new. And I believe we have been a church that's been generous on multiple levels. But I feel like it's time for us to really, really reflect the goodness of God in this hour like never before. We share these stories every week. Candy gets up and does a great job of sharing stories about what God's doing in the lives of our church family. Jobs and better jobs and the things we decree. We're seeing it happen, right? But I'm going to let you in a little bit before I jump into a few thoughts about giving today. I want to let you in a little secret that when we tell the stories, they're designed, if you will, to encourage you that if God's blessing one, He'll bless you. That He's not exclusive in His desire to want to pour out blessing upon His family. And the truth is that in our giving as a church, we're not going up at all. Now, that may seem discouraging. It's not discouraging in the context that we know there's a lot of stories where God's doing a lot of things. Wonderful things. Amen? Would you agree? But I think it's time for us to be challenged in our lives, not just in the context of jobs and better jobs and what we decree. Those are all wonderful things. They all fit into the context of what I'm going to talk to you today about. But I feel like it's time for us to shift gears, if you will, into a place where we really reflect the Father's heart with our finances. Let me tell you why. It's one of the least favorite things that most pastors get to talk about, but we get to talk about it. You know why? Because I believe that when God really begins to move in the people, He'll begin to see it in how they give. Seriously true. Because we no longer are trying to manipulate and control our finances. We're simply saying, God, you're the author of everything. You own it all. The Bible says He owns the cattle on what? 2 hills. How many? 1,000? How many know that's a lot of cattle? But you can't go, okay, if you just average, there might be 20 cattle on 1 hill, 1,000 times 20. That's not what He's trying to say. He basically puts it in this way. He says, I own it all. If you ever seen 1,000 hills, how many know that's a lot of hills? More than you probably ever have seen at one given time. You don't see 1,000 hills. I own all this stuff. It's mine. I created it. And if I own it, that means I'm in control of it. And if I want to release something over you, I can release something over you because it's mine to give. See, we want to talk a little bit about the law of the harvest. We want harvest. We want to see Jesus bring people to relationship with Him. We want to see that, correct? Right? Right? Get it? Come on. If you don't, this message may not mean much to you. We're not looking, I need to say this. I'm not looking for you just to give money so that we can keep the lights on and pay our salaries. That's far from it. Do you understand how much that God has given to us to carry and to release in the region? Come on. More than we can ever dream or imagine. More than we've ever even talked about. We're getting ready to move into the most wonderful season of the history of this church. I promise you. And he's looking to not be it's not about PB. It's about us. It's about you. It's about me. It's about, you ready for the word? Here you go. Ready? It's about family. The Father wants to bless His family. And it's time we get into alignment with what the Father's getting ready to release. And I believe we have to talk about finances because it's a big part of how He wants to release the blessing of His kingdom over His children. Okay? You all right? Okay, just unleash the seatbelt. We've already talked about freedom. We've already broke things off. Now it's time to talk about this. Luke 16, verse 10 says, He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. And he who is unjust in what is least is unjust also in much. That's New King James. Listen to what it says in another translation. The New American Standard says it this way. He who is faithful in a very little thing is faithful also in much. And he who is unrighteous in a very little thing is unrighteous also in much. And then you can bring further clarification. The New Living says it this way. Unless you are faithful in small matters, you won't be faithful in large ones. If you cheat, I don't know if I should even read this one because I think we're all guilty of it. If you cheat even a little, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. Can I just touch on that? Many of us in this room want the bigger. We want the more. We want the more elaborate. We want the platform. We want the ministry. We want this title. We want all these things. The Father says, I'm more than willing to pour it out to you. I want to give you everything that's in your heart. But before I can do that, I need to know I can trust you with what I've already given you.
Yeah. Amen.
Smile back at me, please. It's true. Sometimes we're critical of, maybe we look at someone who has a lot more than us. and they have a bigger church, and they have a larger facility, and they have all these things. And I can promise you, Denise Goulet was here last week and her husband, Paul, I can promise you, I remember the days when they were on a little strip mall, on West Sahara Avenue in Las Vegas. It wasn't what they're carrying today. It wasn't what they have today. But I know this about Paul. The Lord took him to a process. And he got to the place where he said, God, you can have all this if I lose your presence. If I lose what you're doing in my life. If I lose that, none of this matters. I give it all to you. And they went from 600-800 people down to about 300 people. They began to question whether or not his decision to give God everything was the right one. It wasn't too much longer when affirmation came through prophets and different people, and they said, you've got to stay on task for what I've called you to. And it wasn't a short time later when the church began to grow exponentially. They went from 4 to 5 to 8 to 1,000. Now they're around about 4,500 to 6,000 people. Huh? Why? Because I believe that Pastor Paul understood the principle of the law of the harvest. He's willing to give everything up he had in order for him to glean what God wanted to really pull it out. See, sometimes it looks like it's really good, but God said, are you willing to give me what you got right now? Because if you give me what you've got right now, I will multiply. The law of the Lord, I will multiply what's in your hand right now. But I need to know you're willing to give me it all so I can give you the more. That's the difficult part. It's called T-R-U-S-T. Do I trust Father God enough to give him what I've got? See, if he can't trust us with some little things, how can he trust us with the more? Look at this place. 15 years we've been plotting and fighting and warring for his presence. I believe we have his presence here. But now it's time for us to take what he's given to us in this context and begin to pour it out into the community. Begin to give our offering away. Begin to give what's ours away. Begin to give what's inside of me away. Begin to love those I can't love. Begin to care for those I can't always care for in the natural, but I'm willing to give money. I want to give them a time. I want to give them my labor. I want to give my talents. See, he's looking for those. Now, I need to start preaching because I'm not there yet. What Luke is trying to say is very interesting as it deals with money and a resource, time, talent, treasure. But more specific, he's looking to our finances. He's actually suggesting here that money is to be considered one of the least of things. Great glory, his presence, his goodness are to be the greater things. I look at that and go, what? Are you serious? Because most of us don't live in that place. Very few of us would think, and I think probably more, most of us probably say, I want the more. I want more money, I want more of this, I want more of that. If we're honest. But if we can't be faithful in managing the things that are considered to be the least, money, that's what Luke's saying. If we're not faithful with what's the least, how will we ever be faithful in handling the things that are great? Verse 11 of that says, if therefore you have not been faithful in unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? What is this idea of unrighteous mammon? Let me explain to you. Worldly wealth. I don't believe that there's a crisis of money in the kingdom of God. I don't think there's a crisis of money in the world. There truly seems to be a crisis in how we take what we get and manage what God's given to us. That's a problem. Most times. We're his stewards. In our journey together, I would like to suggest that to be a generous giver, to be an outrageous giver, we must understand who the master is and who is in charge. Look, I shared this verse of Scripture so many times in many different contexts, but let's talk about it. I've even talked about it in this context before with finances. But Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15 says, take us the foxes, the little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes. Listen to what it means. In the light of what we understand about Luke's narrative here in Luke, talking about money, resources. Regarding money as being seen as the least, let's look at the passage here. Being faithful in the little responsibilities in our lives are as important as any larger issue or duty that we sometimes might see before us. Am I cheating in the little things? Am I justifying not being faithful in what little I have? Do I give what is left over from my first fruits, what I first make? Am I giving of that? Or I'm paying everything else off, and if I have something left, I'll give it to God? It's a good question. In context of this morning, let me stress that as I ponder this passage, I came to the understanding that there are many foxes in our lives that try to damage the fruit of our Christian life and journey. You know, honestly, we've heard this before. If you haven't been to church, you've heard this before. Here it is, right? If everybody would just tithe, we'd have no problem with finances in the church. You know, there's some truth to it. There is. I don't know what percentage of people in our church give something, but let me just say this to you. If we all, matter of fact, one of the famous lines that Convoy of Hope mentions, they'll say it this way: equal sacrifice, not equal giving. It's really good thought. Equal sacrifice, not equal giving. Because not everybody can give equally here, but we can all sacrifice something when it comes to the cause of the kingdom. But the Father's trying, I think, to breathe into us today. He's trying to stoke the fire, is that if all of our money is being spent on worldly wealth, so to speak, and there's nothing left over for the Father, how can He bless our lives if we're wanting the more of God? How can He, the law of the harvest, how can He do that when there's nothing to give to Him in terms of finances? Now, time we can give, and talent we can give. But we're not talking specifically about those. We're talking really about our resource, the things that make us and motivate us in life, called money, cash, the greenback. Guys, okay? Pastor, I come to church and I can talk about money. If you come here long enough, you know one thing: we don't talk about it a lot. So when I do talk about it, I kind of expect you to perk up your ears and take a little bit of an interest in it. Because I promise you this, there's a lot more in the Scripture, there's a lot more to be said than what little I give to you when it comes to how we steward our money. Matter of fact, one of the number one things talked about in the Scripture is wealth and resource. So let's not be afraid of it. Amen? All right, good. Let's do a few more things here. So, the little foxes that spoil our little tender vines, right? A fox is, its very nature, a very mischievous little thing, right? They're beautiful, but they're mischievous, really kind of conniving. What would these little foxes, how do these little things affect how we steward what God's given to us? Here's some of the small things. Ready? Procrastination. Wrong thinking about what I have and who I am. You believe that what little you give won't make a difference. What if the law of return, this law of the harvest, law of return, doesn't work for me? I'm too far in debt for me to ever get out. Why even try to apply this truth? What if I begin to do this giving thing or this faithfulness thing in my giving and I get sick? It's not only the little thing that crushes the fruit of the vine, but it's the accumulation of the little things that damage the fruit. It's like compounded. Like it might just be one thing, but you let many little things kind of compound the way we see ourselves in the light of Christ's truth here. See, the what ifs are always going to be with us, right? What if I lose my job? What if this doesn't happen? What if that doesn't happen? What if I get a raise? Well, nobody can really answer those things. Ronnie, if he was here today, could tell you firsthand that he's been praying for this promotion for a long time. It's been almost a year ago when we talked about it, because I really wish I could get the day.
Years.
Right, right?
Like years.
So it's been a long time. But guess what? They've been faithful, they continue to contend, and in the Lord's timing, the reward came.
Yes.
Right? Come on, somebody. God's good. What these stories you every week are not made up. They're family stories. All right, a couple more things here. I believe we can agree that stewardship, how we manage our finances, is an attitude towards how we manage the resource or gifts that God has given to us. Look at some examples of wealthy and successful, well-known people that have the proper attitude related to money. L. Kraft, head of Kraft Cheese Corporation, who had given approximately 25% of his enormous income to Christian causes for many years. He said this: "The only investment I ever made which has paid consistently increasing dividends is the money I gave to the Lord." You ever heard the name Rockefeller?
Yeah.
J.D. Rockefeller said this: I never would have been able to tithe the first $1 million I ever made if I had not tithed my first salary, which was $1.50 per week. You notice I'm not talking about tithe this morning specific. 10%. Listen, I believe in the tithe. We tithe more than tithe. I believe in it. But at some point you got to determine I'm going to give something. Right? Whether it's 10%, 5%, whatever is between you and God, begin to give. Shoot for 10% because I think it's a good number. Plus it's biblical. All right. Here's a few more really cool things. Martin Luther said this: when it comes to giving, some people will stop at nothing. That's a great line. Right there. What? Say it again, PB. Okay, ready? When it comes to giving, some people will stop at nothing. Remember Jimmy Carter? A big smile. God judges what we give by what we keep. Come on, President Carter. Give a little theological on us. That's pretty good. Let me give you one more. Mother Teresa, who I love, she said this: if you give what you do not need, it really is a gift. Right? These things can sting a bit. So I don't really know where you are in your giving habits. I know. I can check if I wanted, but I don't know. It's between you and the Father. Listen to me. It is important that we ponder this today. Because the law of harvest says that when we do what the Bible teaches, there is a return that comes. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. Okay. There's three kinds of genuine givers. Ready? One, you ought to, out of obligation. Secondly, might be called legal. You have to, it's law. Right? The best one is what we're talking about this morning. And it's the one that lives by unbridled generosity. Nothing constrains you when it comes to your willingness to give. And that's the liberal giver that says we do it out of grace because we're generous. We want to bless what we can bless. We want to give what we can give. We want to love what we can love. We want to share what we can share. Which are you this morning? What are we today? I'd like to be known as that last one as a church, a generous church. You know, I think we are at some level, but I think we have a lot of room in which to grow. I'd like them to know a few things about Crosspoint. Can I just tell it? I'd like them to know that we're a church that's not afraid to go after His presence. I want us to be known as a church that really believes that people matter. I want us to be a church that really believes in the priority of family. I want our community to know that this church is not about what happens 8809 in Lakeshore Boulevard, but what happens outside the walls of what you carry. I want this community to know that we're generous, that we're willing to help people when we're able and capable of helping people. I want this community to know that that's what we're about. And we're moving towards that. We're moving towards that. See, tithing or giving, it must be motivated by grace. In the Old Testament, tithing was a debt you owe. In the New Testament, it's a seed you sow. See, whenever you give, like today, when we take the one day to feed the world offering, I've already got my push pay ready to give. I'm ready to push that button, and I'm ready to give my offering today. And you know, I always wish there's a few more people showing up because I want more money to come in for Convoy. But here's the beauty of it. When I push that button and that money is seeded into Convoy of Hope, I know the return is enormous. I know that what I'm seeding into is going to have a return. Law of the harvest is going to have a return way beyond what I'll see with my naked eye, my natural eye.
Amen.
Right? You saw some of the stories. I've been to Haiti. I saw them doing all that. I saw the kids being fed. I saw the homes in which I saw this firsthand. And no, I may not be living in Haiti, and I might not be, but I can tell you this: when I give my money, when I sow into it, the law of the harvest, the return comes because thousands upon thousands upon thousands of children throughout the world are being fed because of my little offering, because of your offering, because of compound offering that we give together. We can give thousands of dollars to Convoy and know this, that the return is going to be amazing. See, you don't have to see it all the time, but you got my faith when I give believing that that when I put it to the ground, it's not going to stay dead. It's not going to die. It's going to actually bring life. Someplace, either in this city or throughout the world, there's going to be increase because of my seed that I planted. It's good preaching, PB. You're sticking right with this. Because it's the Word of God, right? It's not PB. See, true wealth is having everything you need when you need it.
Yeah.
Andy Stanley said that. That's a great quote. That's wealth. We probably have way more than we ever need, and we don't need it. Okay, a few more things. Number one, because of the law of the harvest, you can confident with great confidence understand it applies to your finances. That when you give seed, when you believe in the law of the harvest, when you believe that God wants to be faithful in what we give, I believe with all my heart it applies to your finances. You're actually planting seeds in a field of gold, like in a harvest that will produce like gold, like amazing things. See, unbridled generosity is a place where we get to where nothing hinders us from giving when we feel prompted to give. To be able to loosen up some of our resources in our lives so that we can give 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. When we did the remodel, we were so blessed by how many people said, count me in. And over a year, some gave $8,000, $10,000, $5,000, $2,000. Remember what I said? Equal sacrifice, not equal giving. And together we paid this thing, for the most part, we paid this thing off so we can have this beautiful facility.
Yes.
Over $100,000, approximately $100,000. That's what happens when you believe in what God's promised. Right? So we understand the law of return applies to our finances. Secondly, you can assume this, that giving and seeding financially allows you to partner with God in His agenda, not ours. And God is able to make all grace abound to you that you always have an all sufficiency in all things. Say all things. Sufficiency in all things may have abundance for every good work. As it is written, He has dispersed abroad, He has given to the poor, His righteousness endures forever. God has a plan. And the plan is to use you and me to reach the world with His gospel, His story of the good news of Jesus. The good news being preached and meeting the needs of those less fortunate or disenfranchised in our society. I think that we can all agree that God is up to something big in this world and in the city of San Diego right now. And when we give, we're participants in something much bigger than us. In fact, when you break down this verses that we read in Luke, it quite literally says, as we give, we must be persuaded that God is able to reward our giving. Just as God is able to make the sowing of seed abound to great harvest, so God is able to bless our giving. You know why people get blessed? Because they're willing to sacrifice something in order to get the blessing from the Father. It may take a year to see the return in your seed. But the promise is quite certain. It will come. It will come. Jesus even said the smallest gift, even given with the right heart, would not go unrewarded. And whoever gives one of these little ones only a cup of water in the name of Jesus, in the name of a disciple, assuredly I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward. A cup of water gets a reward? Yeah, because the motive behind it is, I want to give something. This is all I've got right now. I've got a bottle of water. You go by somebody on the street that's looking for something. Homeless people. Those homeless. I know it's a problem. We saw there was a big meeting in Oklahoma last week. We were leaving one meeting and they saw them coming out, a new task force being established in the region for homelessness. Hey, it's a problem. But will they begin to come together and God begins to collectively use men and women to bring result? It will happen, but until that time comes, we have responsibility at times when you pull up next to somebody. I'm not saying every time, but if you got a couple bucks, you got 50 cents, you got a bottle of water, you've got a half a burrito, give them what you got. I'm not saying every time like, nah, I trust my heart, but sometimes I try to keep cash, but whenever I do have a little bit, I'm willing to give it, such as I have.
Yes.
50 cents is going to kill you. It's the mindset behind it will kill you. It's the mindset that they don't need that. We don't know their stories.
That's right.
So we just stop judging everybody. My goodness. And we've all done it. We have them around here all the time. There's probably, I don't know how many actual regular homeless people live in La Mesa. I heard 30 some at one point. I don't know how many. But we know a lot by name, and some of them like to sleep around our property.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes it gets a little bit frustrating when they do things that they shouldn't do in by my door to my office. And it has to be picked up and cleaned up, right?
Yeah.
And you find syringes, that are in, right? These are hurting people. So my point is this. A cup of cold water doesn't hurt. Because guess where the blessing comes? To you. Okay. 1 Timothy, let's go there real quick. So I'll just say it this way. In our giving, God gives, He responds to us in our giving in many ways. Materially, spiritually, physically. Materially, God may bless our giving by promotions, like we declare every week, better pay, unexpected gifts of money, making things last so we don't suffer for the cost of replacing them. Like a washing machine's going out, Father, keep it going until I can get the money for a new one, those kind of things. God may bless our giving by freeing our hearts from the tyranny of greed and materialism, or by giving us a sense of blessing and happiness, or by storing up rich reward in heaven. There's no end to the ways we can be blessed when God is able to make all grace abound towards us. So looking at this, back to Luke, real quickly. I think it's verse 8 that says this. It says, I'm just about done here. It says, in our partner with God, where it says, always having all sufficiency in all things, always having means this. The word sufficiency is translated contentment. So if you look at 1 Timothy 6:6, now godliness with contentment is great gain. God gives a special gift to the giving heart. Always. All contentment in all things. Are we anxious in our financial state? Do we worry about where our next meal will come from? Or how we will going to pay the doctor bill? Matthew 6:25 says this, therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food and body more than clothing? Here's the key. Generous giving. Generous giving. Extravagant giving. I believe this with all my heart. Not holding back. Knowing that your seed into the soil of the kingdom will not only bring you blessings, but contentment, peace, joy, the fruit of the Spirit in operation in your life. It will pay dividends in here and now for generations to come. I think sometimes we think that our ability to give or sowing seed will not truly make any difference. I promise you, I'd like to suggest to all of us, it will, and it does, and is right now. You are truly partnering with Him to touch people and reach the nations. And sometimes it's all of an eternal perspective. I want to wrap up this with, and maybe we showed the video clip many years ago, and I still think it's one of the most powerful scenes about someone that was selfish and wanted to make money off of the Jewish plight during World War II with the Germans. Probably have all seen Schindler's List, at least heard of it. There's a scene at the very end, I think it's one of the most powerful scenes ever. That scene goes like this. It's where they had made a ring for Schindler. And I'm going to give you just a little bit of explanation behind it. But in one of the last scenes, Schindler prepares to flee from the Allies because now he's on the run. And they give him a ring, a gold ring made from gold fillings, engraved with a quotation. It's actually from the Talmud, the book of Jewish law. And it says this, whoever saves one life saves the world entire. That was engraved on the ring that they made for him. And at the stage in Schindler's life, we know he had killed he had not been kind to the Jewish people, put it that way, and used them for profit. And his heart began to change. At the very beginning, his heart changed. He began to realize what he had been doing. In the very last scene, they give him the ring. There's hundreds of people that's pressing around him, and he recognizes the impact of what was happening. And here's what he said. In essence, he said this. He begins to cry, he begins to read, and he begins to weep, and he realizes, I could have saved one more. I could have saved one more if only I would have. I could have saved one more if I would have sacrificed it. I could have saved one more. He began to realize that there's hundreds, maybe thousands more Jewish people he could have saved if he'd only understood. Our giving does make a difference. And when you give with a heart, it's almost like saying, and I wonder if we'll get to heaven someday, get to heaven, I'll say, no. Only I wouldn't have been in debt like that. If only I would have understood. If only I would have thought more about how I stewarded what you've given to me. I could have saved thousands of debt. My family could have been saved. My neighbors could have been saved. My city could have been transformed. You get what I'm saying? I don't want this to go manipulated. I'm just trying to give you a case in point. That's a matter of the heart. So this morning, as we get ready to give our one day to people offering, I really want you to think, how am I stewarding our resources? Do I really believe that my giving matters? Do I believe in the law of the harvest? Do I believe when I plant seed, there will be return? I say yes, and yes, and yes.